drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll off 'em. Up 'em, up 'em. If he reach, then I'll pop 'em. Street sweeper, I'll wash 'em. Homicide, come and chalk 'em. Drop 'em, drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll off 'em. Up 'em, up 'em.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is who's the face of women's boxing. We've been seeing it on Twitter and people have been debating. Some people say Katie Taylor, some people say Claressa Shields. Well, the numbers are in, and we're going to take a look at the numbers. First, we're going to take a look at Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, which was Katie Taylor's big fight recently. Yeah, this is playing from here. Let me pause this real quick. But as you can see, this is the zone, and it says Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano draws unprecedented audience of 1.5 million on the zone in record-breaking night. So it says fans tuned in across 170 markets worldwide to make the April 30th event the most watched female headlined boxing broadcast ever in history. So that was in April. And you see it was also sold out in Madison Square Garden, 19,187 fans. So in April, that's the record that Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor set. However, that record was short-lived and broken by Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. As you can see, Claressa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. Yeah, Claressa Shields versus Savannah Marshall was the most watched women's professional boxing event in history. Over 2 million viewers tuned into Shields versus Marshall, making it the most watched women's professional boxing event in the history and creating the biggest audience for a live women's sporting event ever on Sky. So let's see if they more than 2 million people. Let's see if they give us the crowd attendance number, which I don't see, but there was like 20,000 people in the O2.
O2 looked packed too. I remember that.
On Saturday, verdict innovative, which saw 45,000 fans take part. So that's something different. It doesn't say the number, but I'm sure it's relatively close. I mean, I can look that up. But getting back to this, Shields did and Savannah Marshall did over 2 million on October 15th. In April, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano did 1.5 million. There's debates, and some people are saying it's Katie, some people are saying it's Claressa Shields. Conspiracy G, who do you believe is the face of women's boxing?
Hey, man, numbers don't lie for me. So 2 million last time I checked is more than 1.5. So I have to say it has to be Claressa Shields. And it only makes sense because as talented as Katie is, at least here on the U.S. side, she's not as visible as Claressa Shields is. You know, Claressa has a bigger presence, especially on social media, than Katie. Katie's more like to herself. And to be honest with you, hey, this is maybe I don't really understand UK lingo like that, but she be sounding punch drunk to me, you know? So Claressa sounds like she still has her full faculties, you know, she delivers clear sentences. Yeah, Claressa at times may be a little ratchet, you know, but she still is more out there, you know, she appears to be more threatening, you know, and I think, you know, because of how skilled she is, people want to see that. So when she went up against Savannah Marshall, people built up Savannah Marshall like, yo, she's that the female Tyson Fury that could take out Shields, you know. So people were like, whoa, you know, when Katie Taylor, when she fought Serrano, like, yeah, it was cool. It was real entertaining, this and third, but you know, like Amanda isn't as like visual and as vocal as a Shields is on social media, and Katie Taylor is like not even as present on social media as Amanda was, so I think, Katie just has a good team behind her, like being signed to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has done, magic with her career. But when it comes to like a person getting it from the mud on up, I have to give it to Claressa Shields. And I think because of that, every time Claressa like talks, like she has so many like haters that haters will pay, or they'll log in to view her fights because they want to see her lose. And what's it like? Bad publicity, any publicity is good publicity. You know what I'm saying? That's what Claressa has that I think Katie doesn't have. Katie has the love, but she doesn't really have the hate. But to be great in boxing, you need the haters. Like Floyd needed the haters to become, the $1 billion man or whatever. Like, because it's one thing to have like those supports, but you also need those naysayers. Like, I think this is the time he's gonna lose. I think this is the time she's gonna lose. So the fact that she actually, had over 2 million people watch this fight, that's amazing. Salute to Claressa Shields and salute to Savannah Marshall, because, I'm a realist. I always say, you're only as good as your dance partner. So, Shields not going to get like over 2 million views fighting like a soccer mom somewhere. It's not happening, and the same thing with Katie Taylor. Like Katie Taylor can't just fight an Uber driver and expect to get 1.5 million views. The best have to fight the best to produce these numbers, But however, it shows that more people view Claressa as the top dog than they do Katie Taylor. And it's not like, we're like pinning Claressa Shields against Katie Taylor or whatever. Like both could be great, but let's just be real. And Trill, you're going to hate me for this. Please forgive me. It's one thing to be that dude, outside of Floyd. Floyd was like, but it's one thing to be that guy, number one in them lighter divisions, versus a guy who's number one in the heavyweight division. You see what I'm saying? Like when people think of, oh, I got to see that fight, it's usually with the heavyweights, with the exception of Floyd. Floyd had the cheat code. You know what I mean? So, but outside of that, it's like, come on, man. People want to see knockouts. People want to see, like they want to see devastation in the ring. The way they built up Shields versus Marshall, it was like, yo, somebody is gonna die. You know what I mean? Like that's what we wanted to see in that card with Bumgarner in the undercard. We will also think somebody finna die. You know what I mean? Like that's why people were tuning into this, because it's like they had a good buildup of it. These girls seemed like they really had beef with one another. The card was stacked. What's her name? Excuse me.
Katie Taylor.
Katie Taylor and Amanda. Man, half of their buildup was all love. Like, oh, for women's boxing, oh, we love each other, oh, kisses and hugs. Nobody want to see that, man. I want to see blood, son. You know what I mean? So, like, I think
that's the guillotine G.
I think I said this to you guys before. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if like Shields and Marshall were actually like close friends, and they had this whole thing like, yo, girl, we're gonna come at each other in the public, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Because they understand like the money, the potential of the bag, it means more than their little corny rivalry. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why do we need to have all this bad blood when we could just work together and make, huge paydays? So, with all that said and done, what I'm pretty much saying is, it's going to be hard for Katie Taylor supporters to say Katie Taylor is the face of women's boxing when Shields just pulled out 2 million people to watch her fight. Salute to Claressa Shields.
Dollar bill.
Shout outs. All right. I don't even get what happened. What's going on here? What are we asking? Are we asking who is the face of women's boxing? Is that's the question? Are we asking? Or are we congratulating Shields and saying that more people wanted to watch her fight with Marshall versus Taylor's fight with Serrano? Is what are we asking here? Because
who's the face?
I learned something from here. I learned something here from my baby brother, right? This is what I learned, right? Which is really dope. Everybody sees things differently. Okay? People see Jordan and how they see LeBron, right? There's always going to be like, however you view that player or that person. To a lot of people in the UK, and maybe some sprinkles here in the States, Katie Taylor is the face of women's boxing. And you're not just going to say that just because Claressa Shields had one fight that sold more than her last fight. Nobody's talking about the times that Katie kept selling out arenas over there. With the Deframe fight, the lady, what's her name? Delphine. Yeah. Sellout events. Other fights that she had that was sellout events over there. Maybe not a 2 million, but for her, decent, more than Shields, right? That she had for over there. Go ahead.
But Trill,
I'll let you rock, bro.
I know, but Derek Chisora sells out events over there too. I'm just saying.
Just hear me out though.
But that's still different. It's female. It's female boxing. Still.
It's female boxing.
It's still female boxing.
Hey, I think
female boxing.
We can say the same thing about, bro. How many male fighters get 2 million views? A bunch.
It don't happen. It don't.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen over here. It does happen a lot.
So you gotta look at it like this.
Danny Garcia had like 4 million, like for like 2 of his fights, like double that. You see what I'm saying?
And we gotta look.
Right,
I showed it to you. Remember, we pulled these numbers up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No. And not only that, right? So to them out there, Katie Taylor is, and you got to talk about her attendance rate has been good steadily. Maybe it wasn't that 2 million, but been good steadily. People come out to see Katie, right? Not even that. You even said it through your own mouth. Shields. A lot of people didn't come out and watch her, especially here in the States. But here in the States, people would say that she is the face of women's boxing. And maybe a couple of sprinkles in the UK might say Shields too, right? But if you look at, even Shields said that the amount of fanfare over here compared to the fanfare over there was totally different. And you said it yourself. Maybe it was the dance partner. Maybe some of Marshall's fanfare has something to do with those numbers. Are we saying it was all Claressa Shields, this reason why there's 2 million people? Or was some of these fans Savannah Marshalls? Or maybe was it because it was just a great fight?
I just want to say something to G real quick, Dollar Bill.
Okay.
So like, if you see this, you see like when he fought Thurman Garcia, peaked at 5.1 million. Garcia versus Lamont Peterson, 3.4 million. Danny's had like Danny Garcia versus Robert Guerrero, 2.5 million. Like his most recent fight was on Showtime was 400. But I'm saying like, yo, for big time male fighters, pulling in 2 million views isn't a big deal.
Yeah,
like,
you got that.
Yeah. So I just think is who, as the viewer, who do you feel is the face of? I remember at the one time, you know what I'm saying, you had Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. And I couldn't, and if you wanted to tell me that Pacquiao was your face of boxing because you liked him so much, I got into beefs with family members who thought that Pacquiao, you know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Beef. Because he felt that Manny Pacquiao was the face of boxing. I felt Floyd was the face of boxing. We can't have our own opinions. There's reasons why to say Katie is, and there's reasons to say that Claressa Shields is. To me, I feel, why not both of these women be the face of women's boxing? Why can't they both be great in their own right? They both were different weight classes. That's like comparing, like you said, G, that's comparing these 135 pounders, who's everybody was saying was the most electrifying division at one point, and saying that they're comparing them to the heavyweights. 2 different divisions, 2 different women's, 2 different styles of fighting. and people can feel what they want to feel. The people, as long as they putting butts in them seats and they're doing a good showing for women's boxing. Because shout outs to Katie Taylor, shout outs to Claressa Shields. No matter what anybody says about these women, they have put on for women's boxing like nobody has put on for women's boxing in a long time. The fact that we're sitting here talking about it, it shows, it can test to these women and what they have been. These women have been fighting to put women's boxing on their backs for their country and for themselves. So I'm not going to put them against each other. I'm just saying to each people, no matter where you're from, if you're from the UK or you're from the US, or you're from the US or you're from the UK, one of these women are the face of boxing for you. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you. That's like when somebody asks me, Trill, who's better, Magic or Jordan? I like Magic. I've always been a Magic guy. Jordan's cool, but I've always been a Magic guy. People say, Trill, you know, when you're Mexican fighters, who you got them on your top, right? My top Mexican fighters of all time, right, that I love, me personally, Chavez, Canelo, Fernando Vargas, you know, Eric Morales, Juan Marquez, De La Hoya, then Barrera. People gonna be like, oh, how you gonna put Fernando Vargas before De? That's my pick. How you gonna tell me who I can pick is my pick? I love Fernando Vargas. He reminds me of myself. We both like Vincent. You know, his struggle reminds me a little bit of my struggle. His childhood reminds me of my childhood. So I tend to rock with my man Fernando Vargas. But nobody's gonna tell me that he's not a great champion, 3-time champion, youngest to the Olympic team, youngest junior middleweight champion of all time, Hall of Famer. Right? We all have our people. We all pick. I mean,
is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't think he is.
No, he's not.
No.
I thought he just got in the last one.
No, I don't
They
think
didn't let him in. I gotta check that out. That's
They-
messed up.
I don't remember Fernando Vargas.
Oh, now that's a different subject now. That's a different topic. G, write that up on the screen, G. Put that on the screen, G. Fernando should be in the Hall of Fame. But nah, like I was just saying, to get all jokes aside, I just think, man, that just depending on who you are, man, both of these women are the face of women.
I'm about to say that.
Oh, word. No, you're right. He did got in 2020.
He better be in there.
No, it's Fernando Vargas. Hold on, let me see.
Sorry, I got a little worked up.
Oh, yeah,
That's
so,
what's up. Hold on, wait. Let me see.
He's in there. Tell me he's in there. I'm about to
Yeah, he's in it. And
stop it. Don't have me go crazy, bro.
okay. Yeah, he got in with Miguel Cotto.
Yeah.
I didn't see him on the dais.
Yeah. He should have been.
Or maybe I did, and he was. I remember last time we were looking in. What's his name? Diego Corrales wasn't even in, and Fernando wasn't in, and we were like, "How the hell are these guys not in the Hall of Fame?" So. Yeah. Now diving into this topic right here, right? That's great. Can you cut that music off now? Yeah. I think it's very diplomatic, right? And we could always do that with everybody. Like, oh, well, who's the best? And everyone can perceive the best. The whole fun is to have a debate, but to have the debate in a respectful manner. Like when all is said and done, Katie Taylor has taken the sport to new heights, and so has Claressa Shields. You can have two people looking and pushing to do the same exact thing, which is what happens in the sport of boxing all the time. You still have the debates, who's number one. At one point, it was Canelo, Terrence Crawford. Now, of course, perception is going to play the role in how you see that. If you're someone who loves black fighters, then you're going to say Terrence Crawford. If you're someone who has an affinity for Mexican fighters, you're going to say Canelo Alvarez, right? bias sometimes plays a role in everything. And regardless of who you are as a person, you have bias. So yeah, we can say like perception, where you're from, but at some point numbers just come in, and numbers are just facts. And like at some point, it doesn't matter what you think about Floyd Money Mayweather. You have to acknowledge that he's the highest grossing boxer in the history of the sport. You have to acknowledge that he's undefeated and he beat a number of champions, right? So it doesn't really matter sometimes what your perception is. Sometimes you just have to like face the reality. Even with like, you know, so to speak, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. I've always liked Manny Pacquiao. And I know that Trill always liked Manny Pacquiao. So that was like a weird thing for us when we would have those debates, because it was like people would make it seem like if you pick Floyd to beat Manny Pacquiao, you're trashing Manny Pacquiao. And it's like, bro, we watch all Pacquiao's fights. We love Pacquiao. We didn't sit there and root for Pacquiao and all his other fights. This is just this one fight where we're looking at it and we're like, bro, we think Floyd's going to win. It doesn't diminish Manny Pacquiao's accomplishments. It doesn't diminish who he is, and it doesn't diminish what he means to his country. And I think there's a lot of that with Claressa Shields, Katie Taylor, in these debates. And so, like, since it's a hot debate, figured why not jump in on it? I would say a few things. Katie Taylor did 1.5. Katie Taylor did 1.5 fighting Amanda Serrano. I don't even remember who was on that undercard, yo. I don't. Claressa Shields did 2 million, but their undercard could have been a main event somewhere else. And Alicia Baumgartner is with Eddie Hearn, and she was on the undercard of that fight. So salute to Eddie for not taking away an opportunity from his fighter and being like petty to try to like hurt that card. And if you remember me saying this, I always felt like this was a possibility, meaning that like I always said I wanted Katie Taylor on this card. I always said I wanted Katie Taylor on this card for a reason, because I wanted her to be a part of it. And I felt like if she was a part of it, it also could have elevated this card. But I also saw the potential for the divide, which was going to be who's the face of women's boxing and who did this and who did that. And I just always felt like if all these women did it together, it would make them all superstars. It would make it bigger, right? Because you got Alicia Baumgartner, you got Michaela Mayer, you got Katie Taylor, you got Amanda Serrano. I wish all that happened on the same card, because I feel like that would have solidified all the women on the card and it would have made them all superstars. But when you talk about who's the face of women's boxing, I'm going to say it's Claressa Shields for one reason. I feel like Katie Taylor's on her way out. I think Katie Taylor's older. I think Katie Taylor's carried the sport to the point where she's elevated it to the heights where she could take it. And now she's about to pass the baton to Claressa Shields and say like, yo, because there were times where like, although Claressa Shields may have been the most talented, Claressa Shields may have been the 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Claressa Shields may have been all that. Like Trill pointed out, Katie Taylor was carrying women's boxing because she was the one selling out arenas. And Shields was fighting on like these venues with like these things, and she was trying to find her way. And it took an opponent like Savannah Marshall for Shields to get the respect. And that's why, you saw Claressa Shields crying in the ring. And she was like, I'm just so glad that I got my respect and everything. So I do think that like all these women putting on great entertaining fights does contribute to the greater good. And I think Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano was needed to help get Claressa Shields versus Savannah Marshall to the next level. Imagine if Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano was a stinker, was a boring. They didn't show any skills. People would have been like, yo, I don't want to see those women fight. But that fight was a really great fight. Controversial decision. People debated it. So now people come and they check out Claressa Shields and they check out Alicia Baumgartner and they see what they see. So I'll be honest. I think that, and I said this before, so like I said, pull up the tape. I feel like Katie Taylor's skills are slowly leaving her as she gets older. I feel like her fight with Amanda Serrano was a lot closer than it would have been if they fought years ago, or if they would have fought when they were originally supposed to fight, I feel like Katie Taylor would have won it. Katie Taylor really had to dig deep to pull out that victory. And I think, you know, Katie Taylor deserves to lead a sport that she helped elevate. But I think she's elevated the sport to like a right. Say if Katie Taylor elevated the sport about here, I think she's ready to pass it to Shields, and Shields is about to take it to another level. So I don't think that this should be one of those things where people feel threatened by Claressa Shields, or it's like you're playing them against each other. I think they're both trying to elevate women's boxing, and I think that Shields just took it up a notch. You know what I mean? Like Katie took it there, Shields just took it up a notch. Katie has a fight coming up next weekend. I don't really know.
The last one.
That's her last one?
Hopefully.
Oh.
I'm like, that's
I didn't know.
I just made that up. You know what I'm saying?
Hopefully, that's what I said. Hopefully,
nah, maybe she'll do it.
I was asking for this to be her last one, so I totally agree with what you're saying, bro. About you know, leaving. I totally agree with what you were saying, because I was really calling for this to be a showcase fight for her in her hometown, where she can, you know, because she's done a lot. She's done enough, I think.
Yeah, I think she's elevated the sport. She got a lot of respect for the sport. I feel like a lot of people watch Katie fight and be like, she really has skills. Like, she's really a skilled fighter, right? And even salute to Claressa, like her fight with Savannah, I feel like she showed a lot of improvement in the power department. Like, even to the point where Savannah was like, yeah, because remember, we were watching it like Shields is really sitting down and putting leverage in on her punches, where before she would throw arm punches. So I think, you know, when people talk about like the sport, I think you got to see things for what it is. And like, I'll include Laila Ali in this. I think Laila Ali was iconic in her day, and she did what she could for women's boxing, right? And now you have Katie Taylor and you have Claressa Shields doing what they can to take it to the next level. And I think it would be great if like Laila Ali and her supporters support them. You know, just like you got Katie Taylor, Katie Taylor was the one who got 1.5 million views. And then a few months later, Claressa Shields got 2. And then hopefully Shields can take it to another level, that someday there'll be some fighter from either a women's fighter from the UK or the US who can take it to like 4, you know, and that's what it's about, growing the sport. So overall, I think this is just a nod. So don't look at it as like a disrespect thing. This is a nod to both women for elevating their sport, and I think they'll continue to elevate their sport. And, you know, I think we're going to see women's boxing do better numbers than this moving forward. So salute to Katie and Shields, but I honestly think Katie's on her way out. So I think that's just going to make Shields the face of boxing, because she's starting to elevate at a time when Katie's going to leave.
Shout outs to women's boxing. Women's boxing is in the building. Shout out to all the ladies, all the women champions, man. Y'all are doing y'all thing. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros. Yo, we was the first that was going hard for women's boxing. If you go back and you go look at our old videos, the Boxing Bros was going hard for women's boxing, yo.
But not like that.
Nah.
But